Let me tell you guys a story. So, this was the beginning of this company, and I wanted to start outreach, right? And I knew the best form of outreach would probably be cold calling because of the nature of the industry. I'm working with salespeople, they're always on their phones. That's probably the best way to reach them. So, I started my first day. I was really excited. I was going to do cold calls, I was going to get clients, I was going to build this company and just help people out there. So, the first day, I did an insane zero cold calls. But at night, I watched cold calling videos. I got motivated. The next day, believe me, I'm gonna make 100 cold calls in a single day. The second day came around and I did zero again. And this kept going on for a few weeks until I learned a very, very valuable lesson. You see, I learned there's two things that once you change could solve not procrastination, but your fear of doing work. I'll explain one now and another one I'll upload in another video, but essentially this is the mindset series. Welcome to the mindset series, and what I want to speak about today is something very, very important and something that when I changed, every area of my life improved. So, this is aimed at mainly yacht brokers and I'm going to relate it to yachting. However, if you're in any industry, you're probably going to benefit from this and you're going to love this video. And let's actually do something, right? Why don't you dislike this video? Yes, that's right. I'm asking you to dislike this video. And then what you're going to do is you're going to watch the entire mindset series and dislike every single video I've uploaded till now, and then you're going to implement what I tell you. And 2 weeks later, if your life hasn't improved, or if your life has improved, you're going to come back and like the video. So if you're watching this in the future, that means this worked. People like this video and it's circulating through the YouTube algorithm. Anyways, let's get right to it. So I actually want to say another story. So this is my 13-year-old self, and I actually stumbled upon a very, very important lesson. I didn't even know it then. But I was actually trying to be a football player. And what happened was I was trying to eat healthier, I was trying to train regularly, and thing is I thought I was a football player, and even if they were making like my favorite food, I just eat my healthy snacks. I just eat my healthy food. And no matter what happened, I was always on the grind, training and eating healthy. And so right now what I learned was that time I implemented what I'm going to teach you guys today without even knowing it. So what I want to speak about today is identity. You see, humans like to be in alignment with their identity. So if you think that you're a smoker, you're probably going to smoke. If you think you're a football player, you're probably going to eat healthier and train every single day. So what I want to explain is, let me give you an example. Have you ever tried to stop a habit? Let's say, I want to stop eating junk food now. You do it for a while, but then you instantly snap back and do it worse. Well, this is very common. Let me explain what happens. Let's imagine your life as like a rubber band. You know those like rubber band that people use as bracelets or hair ties or whatever. Imagine your life as a rubber band right now, right? And your identity is where the rubber band is located, while stretching the rubber band will change your actions. So essentially, the location is your identity, while the stretching is the actions. If it's an alignment with your identity or not. When you sort of tell yourself you're going to stop eating junk food, but you still see yourself as the type of person who eats junk food, what happens? It's like you're grabbing the rubber band, stretching it all the way out, but then it snaps back. What we want to do is move the rubber band from here to here. So instead of seeing yourself as an unhealthy person, you're going to see yourself as a healthy person who just naturally eats whole foods because they just like it. And this might seem like wishy-washy, but like, believe me guys, I've tried this and it worked. Why do you think the 13-year-old me was able to say no to all these good food just so he can eat healthy? Because I saw myself as a footballer and I knew this was me. Another thing I want to explain is when you go against your identity, it's like going against a river. You might be able to make it, but at one point you're going to lose all your energy and just fall, and the river will take you down. So that's what happens all this time. You try to change a habit, but then you snap back. So another thing I want to say is people think we behave based on do be have, and what that means is once I do something, I'll become someone, and then I'll have the results. For example, once I do the 100 cold calls, I'll become the salesperson who could do 100 sales calls or cold calls. But that's not true. And then you'll have the results of 100 cold calls. That's not the point though. The real way it is be, do, have. Once you become the person, the salesperson, who loves cold calls, who enjoys cold calls, that's when you can naturally do 100 cold calls, then you'll have the results. It's be, do, have, not do, be, have. So I've been explaining a lot of theory here, a lot of things that might seem a bit wishy-washy, but how can you actually implement this? How can you take this practical advice and just implement in your daily life? And again, dislike this video right now and go implement what I'm saying and come back here. If it changed your life, then change that dislike for like button. But anyways, so if you want to become the person who does an action, you just have to give yourself stacks of undeniable proof that you are who you say you are. For example, if I wanted to be the salesperson who could do 100 cold calls, I just gotta give myself proof that, yeah, you can do 100 cold calls. And now you might be thinking, that's pretty contradictory, isn't it? So to do 100 cold calls, you gotta prove to yourself that you could do 100 cold calls by doing 100 cold calls. Oh, how does that work? Well, here's the trick. What you're gonna do is you're gonna start super small. Just do a single cold call. That's really easy, right? I mean, one cold call. Who can't do that? You know, it might even seem hard at first, one cold call, but what I did was I started doing 3 cold calls a day. Now, I should have started at 1, but I just started at 3. I did 3 cold calls a day for a week, and then that became easy to me. But what happened was I gave myself undeniable proof that, yeah, I'm the type of salesperson who does 3 cold calls a day, and it's part of my routine, part of my habits. It's my identity. It's who I am. Nothing can change that, but you can. So what happened is after a few weeks, and once I became comfortable with 3 cold calls, I started doing 10. And here's where it really got hard for me. I stayed on 10 for like 2 or 3 months. I just do 10 a day, 10 a day, 10 a day. But after a few months of doing it, it became my identity. I gave myself stacks of undeniable proof that you can do 10 cold calls. You're the type of person that could do 10 cold calls, and you are that person. So that just became my norm. That became my baseline. And what happened was I then pushed it on to 30 cold calls, and then all the way up to 100 doing the same exact thing. And I now could easily do 100 cold calls, and in a shorter amount of time. And so the lesson I want to give you is whatever habit you're trying to like start. I'm mainly made this toward salespeople and yacht brokers, but let's say cold approaching in the marina to get more buyers or sellers. What you're gonna have to do is walk up to the marina, approach one person today, and go back home. That's all you gotta do. Very, very simple. How hard is that? Do that for a few days, and then go approach 3, approach 10, approach 50, approach 100, and you could keep scaling this however much you want. Same with cold calls. Let's say you're a yacht broker doing cold calls. Do 1, do 3, do 10, do 50, do 100. Just find out where your baseline is, and what that means is find out where you're comfortable and do slightly above that. Then once that becomes your baseline, do slightly above that. What I mean by baseline, by the way, is we all have a baseline that's sort of the norm. And what happens is whenever we go away from this baseline, we try to retract back. So when I was trying to do 100 cold calls, my baseline was 0. So I'd do 100, but then I'd snap back, and I won't be able to do it. Same with eating healthy. Let's say your baseline is eating junk food. If you eat healthy, you're going to snap back. So what we want to do is increase it a bit so the baseline shifts up. Increase it, shifts up, all the way up to 100 cold calls, all the way up to eating healthy. And you can do this with any factor of your life. And that's what I mean. This could literally change everything. Now, another thing that may seem wishy-washy, but believe me, this works. And I know for a fact you guys are going to click off this video after I say this, but it's visualizations. And again, I know it seems wishy-washy, but something that really, really helped me is I'd spend like 5 minutes a day closing my eyes, imagining a cold call scenario, and just playing it out. The goods, the bads, the neutral calls, every form of calls that could possibly happen, I'd visualize. And what happens is over time, my identity shifts to that, and it becomes my norm because I keep seeing it in my head, and then it became my reality. Something else, by the way, 80% of our actions come from our unconscious mind. And the good thing is our unconscious mind doesn't know the difference between imagination and reality. And that's why you get so nervous when you're trying to do cold calls, because your imagination's imagining how bad it's going to go. But at the same time, if you imagine how good it'll go, if you imagine good conversations, doing your cold calls and crushing it, you'll change your identity and you'll be able to do them. So I'm going to end this video by saying I need you guys to comment what's the next trait you're working on and give me an update a month after. Also, don't forget to dislike this video. Yes, dislike this video and only come back to like it once your life has been changed. Cheers.